Yay!
Conservatives are outraged that Tim Walz provided free tampons for all students who needed them.
Oh boy, they're doing the tampon Tim
Yeah, so
thing.
this is like their response to being called weird was to be like, no, Tim Walz is actually weird because he wants kids who are like menstruating to not stain their pants when they're at school. That's weird. Like what? No.
Yeah,
Thinking that a menstruating child needs to be shamed into, I don't know, bringing extra menstrual products to school with them. Like, no, that's
yeah,
weird. You fucking
it's
weirdos.
very, it's very, very weird. Not about even. Oh God, there's a fucking person who I'm starting to learn to hate, who also was like, the person is trans, and they went, yeah, putting the tampons in the bathroom, that was a weird thing. Like, no, the fuck,
No, it
it's
wasn't.
not.
Okay. Fennec the Rabbit says free tampons at school would have saved me so much headache in middle school. So I actually have a story about this. When I was in grade 8, there was a girl in my class named Ingrid who she came up to me one day asking if she could asking if she could borrow $1. Whatever. I'm like, I don't know. What do you need it for? So I'm like, yeah, I have $1, but like, I'm not just going to give it to you. What do you? And because I don't know, I'm in grade 8. I was a bit of an idiot. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but like, she was super duper embarrassed and didn't want to tell me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not giving you money. I'm like, if it's something you actually need, then sure, I'll lend you some money. But like, if you just are hankering for a chocolate bar, no. And eventually she did tell me that, I need to buy a pad from the vending machine and the thing. And now, in my defense, this did not faze me at all. It was like, oh yeah, of course, here you go, have the $1. Sure, don't even bother about paying me back. Which, in the past, I was a little bit of a shit, but I feel like that was one of my better points.
Congratulations,
I
not shit
shouldn't have
rhino.
I shouldn't have even bothered asking why she needed it. I will grant that that was kind of a stupid thing to do. But for grade A, I feel like I handled that interaction pretty well. But
Mm-hmm.
it must have been super uncomfortable for her. Super uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
here's this guy that like he has money. He is holding the ability for me to not be super duper embarrassed about having blood stains on my pants or whatever for the rest of the day in his hands, and he's making me confess that to him. It's like, if they were just free, that would have solved that problem.
Hey, you don't have to have that awkward, weird
Yeah.
conversation about, you know, uh, a menstrual product. You don't need to literally tell somebody, hey, I'm on my period right now, and I would like it to be slightly less uncomfortable for me.
Now, also, maybe we just destigmatize menstruation. It's a natural thing that happens. So, like, even if you see someone in stained pants because of it, whatever, it happens sometimes. Sometimes it comes unexpectedly. Sometimes it's heavier than you think. These are just things that I know from being around people who menstruate. I don't even
Yeah.
need to menstruate myself to know these things. And the people that actually menstruate are probably way more familiar with way more problems than this.
Go menstruate yourself right now. It sounds like an insult.
Yeah, but
It's
yeah, so I found out later that they kept spares in the office, but that would require asking a male teacher if I could go to the office and ask for a pad. I would rather use a bunch of toilet paper from the bathroom. That was in middle school. By high school, I just kept some in my
gotta say
locker.
that runs into
Yeah,
just as many problems.
yeah. No, I fully support not having to ask male teachers for permission to go get menstrual products.
Yeah.
But
We have a bunch of weird societal things built up about all of our interactions that really need work.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, no, and I know my oldest who started menstruating this year. They have been going to school with an emergency, oh no, it started and I wasn't ready for it kit for like the past year and a half. And
Mm-hmm.
it constantly needed replenishing because they would like have friends and like, oh, do you have an extra tampon or a pad or something? And they'd be like, yeah, no, here you go. And I fully supported their generosity with handing those things out. So
Yeah. But like when we're dealing with kids, when we're dealing with people who are still learning how to operate socially, are developing their stigmas that they will probably engage with for the rest of their lives, maybe we just smooth things out for them a little bit. Maybe we just make those things available for them.
Yeah, just
And
make it
just be-
easier. Just make it easier. Make it so that Ingrid doesn't have to come to me for $1.
Yep.
Because, like, as much as I handled that probably as well as I could have,
There was probably some other bully that would have sat there and just
they do that, or you're
made
saying they
fun
should
of
do
them.
that? Okay, no, my partner just popped in and said health clinics should give out menstrual cups. So I agree with that.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Not even
to
like
have.
specifically the cup, just like menstrual products, including cups or tampons or pads or what have you.
Man, did you also see that that like a lot of the conservative campaign, especially over on Fox News, is getting upset that Walz supported a free lunch program
Yes,
for kids?
like
It's
about
insane.
How is feeding children a bad thing in your eyes? I don't get that.
How do you want to pretend that y'all are not the villains when you are literally going, no, you don't understand. We cannot feed them. We have to make them suffer. Like, the fuck? What's the lesson learned by going hungry?
Can you imagine if you just gave food to kids without them earning it first? Like, come on.
The children have to earn their keep.
God
They
damn
need
it.
to learn that life is about give and take and take and take.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, I don't know that we need to go through the article. We kind of touched on everything already.
yeah, it's just
And it's kind of a short
Tim
one.
Walz seems like I understand that from what I've been able to see. Now I haven't verified this myself, so bear in mind. But apparently, like AIPAC has supported him a couple times. I don't know what all of the stuff is in regards to Walz, but everything that I've seen from the conservative outlets about Walz.
Oh, so, yeah, everything they say about him as like a condemnation is like, no, that's good actually.
It is just maybe what was the one Libs of TikTok decided to show one. Let me find the tweet because I specifically responded to this one.
I found out today that I'm blocked by libs of TikTok. I had no
Man.
idea until someone sent me a link to one of their tweets.
Let's see here. Tim Walz signed HF 146 into law. It's a radical transgender trafficking bill that shelters
Yeah, I
minors
saw
who travel across state lines to get surgeries
Yes,
without
yes,
their
yes, yes, yes,
parents'
yes.
consent.
Yes, that's the one where they lump in. Oh yeah, okay. Let me just.
It's like there's a lot of stretching having to be done with that particular one.
Yeah, no, I'm pulling it up in the chat so I can read it. Yeah. So that came with an infographic where it's like, what are transgender trafficking bills? It's like, 1 allows minors to travel across state lines for transgender procedures, including breast binders, penis tucking, irreversible drugs, double mastectomies, and castration. So like, this is just playing off the fears of people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's like,
Yep.
like penis tucking and breast binding, that's just how you get dressed in the day. That's not, you don't cross state lines to tuck your penis. You just tuck your penis while you're getting dressed. You don't cross state lines to get breast binding. You just put a binder on when you're getting dressed. That's not a medical procedure. And it's just lumping these things in together. And like the mastectomies generally happen on kids that are between 16 and 18, like if it actually happens on a minor.
Mm-hmm.
Van Briggs is I think Van Briggs is getting close to the points to get Suris to redeem an uwu.
We never agreed to this.
You agreed to it when you put it in your friggin' points redemptions.
We never agreed to this.
It just goes on my soundboard, so I can make you say it whenever I want.
Yeah, well, you soundboard.
Ooh, ooh, small beans, little babies.
Oh
And
my
also
God.
because why not? Oh, someone else redeemed it.
I had a weird glitch the other day where I wasn't able to see any of H Bomber Guy's content on his channel.
It
It
is
just
kind of weird.
I went on his channel and it only showed me one upload from like 7 years ago, and that was it. And I was like, did he delete all of his stuff? That's weird, because I wanted to show one of my friends the oof video, and then he looked it up on his phone and like all of his content showed there. Didn't show for me. Super weird. YouTube's a strange platform sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, when you think about the logistics of what they do, it's amazing that they even exist. It's like several years of content are uploaded to their site every minute, and they somehow find the space to host it, as well as serve it up to anyone who might happen to click on it instantaneously. Like that is almost miraculous. Like, I feel like it's understandable why YouTube is like one of Google's most one of Google's least profitable businesses. And like the fact that it works as well as it does is quite frankly miraculous. It's proof of God. I'm a Christian now because I can.
Oh my God. Alpha Mario X did decide to screw me over and redeemed and oh well.
Sometimes
Oh,
I pull on it so hard, I rip the skin.
I was trying to record your ooh, but I didn't hold the button. I just pushed the button, and apparently that's what I had on this one.
Sometimes I pull on it so hard, I rip the skin.
I didn't know that was there, but it's there. I wonder what else is on this.
Please don't tell me that I just came. Well, Rhino,
I
please.
don't remember putting that on my sound bag, but
Please don't tell me. I just came. Please don't tell me I just came right now.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Fucking pronouns!
Gotta have the fucking pronouns, guy.
Celestine Celestial Macaron says, conservatives are like, can you believe Tim Walz rescued 40 kittens from a burning tanker truck? That's horrible.
So my partner, when I've been showing her clips of him, like since he was announced, and her reaction to him is like, oh, he has the charisma that Trump would have if Trump was coherent.
Do you see did you see what he said about JD Vance recently about debating him?
That was definitely one of the clips that I played for my partner.
That was fucking perfect. For those in
Like,
chat who might not have seen, he just goes, and I'm perfectly willing. I'm happy to debate him anytime, as long as he's willing to get off the couch to do it. Boy.
And then the people in the crowd behind him basically reenacted that meme of like all the one guy who's like dunks on someone and everybody else is like, oh.
Yep. So it's funny because for years the Democratic strategy has been, for better or worse, when they go low, we go high.
Yeah.
And right now the strategy has been fuck you, dunk time.
Yep.
And I'm like,
and it's great because we're watching the Republicans are freaking out about this, being like, oh, how dare they stoop to the level of personal insults?
how dare they stoop to our level?
Like,
How dare they engage in the strategy we've done for years?
Have you seen the fucking guy that you have as your candidate? Have you seen him? And you're complaining that we're insulting you? Fuck off with that noise. Fuck off.
It's kind of insane. The they go low, we go high strategy only works if the only people you're ever accountable to are your peers. But when your voter base is constantly watching that happen and watching their rights get eroded away every time a conservative politician manages to shift the Overton window far enough to the right that everybody's willing to do that.
Oh, there's a puddles visible in my...
Oh my God.
She's got her diaper on, which makes me think she was a bad dog.
Oh.
Well, because we're so we got her spayed, and the cone was not effective. Like the cone that they had on her, it did not stop her from licking the wound. So we put the diaper on her because that actually covered the incision. She couldn't get at it. And then as we were doing it, we're like, you know what? She does not poop or pee in the diaper. She has bladder control. She has bowel control, but like up until that, like she still poops in the house sometimes. She still pees in the house sometimes. She doesn't like come to get us and be like, I need to go outside, because I don't know if she's lazy or just maybe like I don't know what's going on in her brain, but so we've decided that like, oh no, we're going to like because I know like the rub their nose in it thing is not the way you're supposed to do it, even though it does kind of work. So the way we're doing it now is that like when she poops or pees in the house, the diaper goes on because she fucking hates that thing. She hates it. Like when you put the diaper on her, she will stand there and pretend like she cannot move and just glare at you until she gets hungry or something. So, but she wasn't wearing the diaper earlier today, but now she is. So I'm thinking my partner's had to clean up some pee while we've been streaming.
At least it's clean.
Yeah.
Now.
All right. So moving on. We don't really need to spend much time on this one, but so last week we talked a bit about Joe Biden actively trying to get Supreme Court reform done. And now he has written an opinion piece for the Washington Post detailing what he plans to do with regards to this.
Interesting.
So now, unfortunately, it's still kind of vague. He acknowledges that the Supreme Court's decision on July 1st to grant presidents broad immunity from prosecution for crimes they commit in office means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. The only limits will be those that are self-imposed by the person occupying the Oval Office. The fact that he's even acknowledging this while simultaneously calling for reform for the body that essentially gave him carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wants speaks volumes to his character. And how he's like, he is willing to limit himself for the good of the country, because he knows that long term, if he uses the powers that the Supreme Court just hypothetically granted him, that's not good for the country.
Long term, it's very, very bad. It goes back to that conversation the older gentlemen were having at the card shop that I was at, where one of them pointed out like, hey, the President Biden speech was beautiful in his eyes because it showed that he was humbly giving up that power, that opportunity, giving up that fight for the better of the American people. And whether the other people who were involved in that conversation agreed or not, I'm not super concerned with. I think that the sentiment that was said there, literally a couple feet behind me, it made perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And it was nice to see that was like, these are people who are like 60 years old. This is what that generation, or some people from that generation, are seeing from Biden. That's a good thing. That's a good takeaway for them to have.
Alex Merkel says, "Aw, we aren't getting a Dark Brandon moment before he patches the bug in the system."
We've gotten a few recently, though, that have been nice. Like the media trying to get him and saying, oh, what are you going to do about the hostages that are currently held, I think, by Russia? And Biden was
you mean the ones that Trump didn't do anything for?
Yeah. And then Biden basically snapped back at them going, I'm doing what I can to do. Do you want me to go ahead and ruin that by telling you what it is? Yeah. Do you want me to go ahead and fuck it all up by giving you that information right here publicly? Is that what you want right now?
Yeah. No. So I was thinking when I found out that like it was said it's written by Joe Biden or whatever, I was thinking like, oh no, he probably had an aide or a speechwriter or something write this. But like reading through it, it genuinely reads the way he talks. So I think he did actually write this. Like, I'm sure he had editors make sure that it was fine or whatever, but like I'm pretty sure he actually did the writing on this. That being said, I'm not a fucking expert on this.
Well, and you can, if you know somebody's speech patterns well enough, you can write a script that sounds like them. So
just ask ChatGPT about that.
I meant a real person.
No. I take that back because I've tried to get ChatGPT to write stuff that sounds like I wrote it, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't write that garbage. So,
Yeah, I had a friend years ago who made a script for a video they wanted me to voice for, and they were like, I wrote the script to sound like you speaking these words. And to be fair, they did a decent job. When somebody else read over it, they're like, that just reads like a Suris video. That just reads like how he speaks live. So like, yeah, it's doable if you're good enough at mimicry and mockery. Not mockery making fun of, but like a mockingbird. You can do that. And I guarantee you there's somebody in Biden's like immediate aides that are able to do that.
Yeah.
But it is still very nice. Like there's nothing wrong about having a presidential aide help write something like that.
This seems authentic is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And I'm also explaining why I'm skipping a bunch of it because, as we know, Biden kind of rambles a little bit at the beginning of things.
Yeah.
But so to get to the meat of it, he says, first, I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called the No One is Above the Law Amendment. When did we stop numbering them? When did we name the amendments?
27? 28?
It would make clear that there is no immunity for crimes for a former president, or no immunity for crimes a former president committed while in office. I share our founders' belief that the president's power is limited, not absolute. We are a nation of laws, not kings or dictators. So now, obviously, as the president, he can't just amend the Constitution. He's calling for an amendment. It's not going to pass unless the Democrats get a supermajority because, like, realistically, this should be able to pass with bipartisan support. But the GOP are a bunch of hacks nowadays.
I can imagine a bunch of people in the GOP just sitting there going, no, we want that power. When that power is bestowed on us, oh, what wonders we shall wrought.
Yeah, so it's just like, this should be such an easy amendment to pass that, like, yes, of course, we can hold presidents accountable for crimes committed while in office. That's never been a problem in the past. When it has, like, on the rare occasions when it has almost been a problem, they've, like, resigned and then been pardoned.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, no. Like, they already have civil immunity. No citizen can sue them in civil court for things that they do while they're president.
They don't need
criminal immunity.
Super immunity.
No.
That's not necessary.
Now, the other things, I don't know if this could be done by executive order or whether it would have to go through Congress. Judging by the comments we got on the video from last time we talked about this, and again, this is YouTube comments, so not the greatest source of information. Yeah. But the consensus among YouTube commenters seems to be that this has to be an act of Congress. It can't be an executive order. So I don't know if this is even within Biden's power or if it's something that he just has to, like, look to Congress and be like, hey, it'd be really great if you made it so that I can't just do whatever the fuck I want. Like, hey, Congress, it'd be great if you made it so I can't assassinate you and then not get punished for it.
Yeah, so Congress has to propose an amendment in a joint resolution, and then the president is allowed to look at the amendment and, you know, give a stamp of approval.
Are we talking about constitutional amendments or an amendment to how the Supreme Court works? Because I don't know that the Supreme Court and all the inner workings of the court are dictated exactly by the Constitution.
Let's find out.
Again, not an expert. I didn't really look into this all that much because, again, this seems like something that doesn't really have a lot of teeth to it, but, like, at least it's being discussed, at least it's being proposed.
Yeah, I don't have a straight answer on that one, actually.
Well, Van Briggs is saying constitutional amendment. I don't think it's that cut and dry. Like, the constitutional amendment, that's the thing where, like, he wants to amend the Constitution so that it's not just a law that presidents can be prosecuted. It is now built into the Constitution that presidents can be prosecuted for crimes. So that way the Supreme Court can't just be like, oh, well, according to the Constitution, if you interpret it in this way that is completely inconsistent with anything, but I'm going to call it originalism anyway.
If you interpret it out the left side of your butt cheek instead of the right side.
Yeah. So it's the term limits thing that, like, I don't know if he can change the way the court operates that way unilaterally, or whether it would need to go through Congress. And if it does need to go through Congress, I don't think it would need to be a constitutional amendment for this. It would just need to be a new law. I don't know.
Fair.
But yeah, so that's his plan, where he wants them to have 18-year term limits. And again, he doesn't explain how this would apply to the court that we currently have, but in theory, if you like start from scratch, that would mean that every president gets 2 appointments no matter what. Like every term, every 4-year term gets 2 appointments.
Which would be kind of ideal.
I think that's fine. I'm okay with that.
It's harder to game the system the way that McConnell did.
Yeah. I would hope there would be a provision in there against McConnelling the shit out of it.
Like if a president is technically sort of kind of a lame duck, but they still have all the powers of a president for a few months, then maybe we just cuck them. That's right. We force the president to engage in cuckoldry constantly, watching everybody else do president shit except him.
Yeah, so people on Twitch are talking about constitutional amendments, and it's like, no, I don't think this would require a constitutional amendment for the second thing. And also the third thing, he's calling for a binding code of ethics for the Supreme Court, which it's completely baffling to me that they don't have that already.
You and imagine
they only
trying to...
They only just now got the self-enforced code of ethics that is completely toothless. But it's like, a traffic court judge is held to a higher standard than the highest court in the land.
Yeah.
What the fuck? How does that make any amount of sense?
Welcome to the United States.
Like this is
walking contradictions.
This is a thing that I've run into on my main channel when talking about, like, because they'll talk about like, oh, God is like a judge and Jesus paid your fine. And so it's like, that's like the judge's son paid your fine in order to get you out of trouble. That would actually be an ethics violation if the judge allowed that to happen. Now, like, ultimately,
you're not supposed to take it literally, Rhino. You're not supposed to take it literally.
But like, they're talking about fines like traffic violations. I'm like, and I've mentioned this in videos, is like, it's weird that a traffic court judge is held to a higher standard than the Supreme Court of the United States.
Rhino, I have a question.
Take bribes from billionaires and then rule things in that billionaire's favor, and it's fine, apparently. What's your question?
If Andrew Tate dies and is sitting there getting judged by St. Peter, can St. Peter list everything he's done under traffic violation?
Yes and no.
Yeah, yes and no. It's true from a certain point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Kenobi. But he says the court's current voluntary ethics code is weak and self-enforced. Justices should be required to disclose gifts, refrain from public political activity, and recuse themselves from cases in which they or their spouses have financial or other conflicts of interest. That seems like kind of a no-duh. Like, obviously, the highest court of the land should not be able to take bribes from billionaires or sit in on cases where the outcome is going to...
Remember, it's not a bribe. It's just a friend taking me out on a $1 billion cruise.
They fucking ruled that bribes are legitimate now, as long as it happens after the fact.
Yep.
It's like, okay, fuck off, you fucking assholes.
Clarence Thomas is sitting there going, "Daddy needs a new pair of shoes, like 50 million of them."
No, okay. So sorry, so you know how I just got my Ioniq 5, and like, financially speaking, it's the same payment as my van, so it's not really like, it's not technically an upgrade, but it's so much better than the van.
Mm-hmm.
So my partner's ex came to pick up the kids today, and he used to drive a Cadillac SUV. Okay. And today he came to pick up the kids in like this ugly little 10-year-old sedan. And I don't
Okay.
like, maybe his Cadillac is in the shop and this is just a loaner car. But there was a certain amount of catharsis as we watched the kids get into this car, being like, we just upgraded our car like massively, and he just downgraded his. Also, he literally lives in his parents' basement, and he's a real estate agent that like sells maybe one house every 2 years.
He's got his life together, doesn't he?
And at least one of his kids gets super sad anytime it's time to go back to dad's house because she is trans and he is anti-trans, so she has to be a boy at his house, and he tries to force her to be a boy at our house too by doing stuff like, oh, you can't sleep in my bed when you like have a nightmare or whatever unless you're a boy at mommy's house. It's like, no, fuck you, you
Like
asshole.
You're a kid and you want comfort from your parent. That's a legitimate thing to want.
Yeah. Lord of Uzkalak says, love your children more than you hate each other. Exactly. I wish he would live by that. Anyway. 3 is the binding code of conduct, so we've already talked about that. So yeah, I guess we're done with the Supreme Court. So, tweet time?
Tweet time.
Do we do the tweets on tweets? Do we go to the tweets?
Sometimes. Every now and again.
Every now and again.
Hey, just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who help keep me afloat and help keep this channel going. YouTube and Twitch are wonderful platforms, but at the end of the day, stability is not one of their strong suits. If you want to support my channel, then obviously Patreon is one of the best ways of doing that. Link is in the description. But I do want to personally thank everybody who has contributed to the channel. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Autumn and Angel, Nixie Chan, Mark Anthony, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that. Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. And everyone else who supports my channel and lets me do what I do full time. This is a dream job of mine that I never believed that I would be able to take full time, and with your help, I've been able to do it. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all are having a wonderful time. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully.